damn sketchy. So I tell him that. I was like, dude, this isn't the same site I've seen before. I feel like it's different now. I don't know. I wouldn't use it. And he's like, I don't know, man. Like, there's reviews and stuff. It looks legit. And I was like, I don't know, man. It's up to you, but I really wouldn't get anything on here. And he didn't listen to me. He went and he bought some weed or something. He didn't buy anything serious. He just bought some weed. But still, I still didn't trust that, to be honest. I honestly thought if somebody was going to lace it, I feel like it would have been from this site. It looked creepy, right? Just very sketchy. Anyway, yeah, like 20 minutes later, he had bought Bitcoin and was buying this, like, weed on the internet with Bitcoin. And all I can think about is what would have happened if he held on to that Bitcoin all the way back in the day. Because, like, dude, now that'd probably be worth, like, thousands of dollars. And he fucking bought, like, some mid-ass weed with it on the internet. But whatever, that's not important. It's in the past, whatever, right? But yeah, he got this Bitcoin. He bought this weed. I don't even remember how much he bought. I think he bought, like, I don't know, like $60 or $70 worth. It wasn't a lot, right? Like, it was really not that much. So after he places his order, he closes his laptop. He looks at me all happy because he just achieved what he wanted to achieve, right? And I asked him, I'm like, dude, what are you going to do about your parents? Because he had strict parents, and they opened his mail all of the time. Like, if he got a package, they'd be like, why are you ordering stuff online? Like, what'd you get? And they would open it. So I asked him, I'm like, yeah, what are you going to do about your parents, dude? Like, they're pretty strict. He's like, oh, it's okay. I'll just, like, camp the mailbox. I'll just wait. Like, I'll know when it's coming. I know when it comes every day. And I'll just be, like, waiting out there, and then I'll open it before they can get it. And I was like, don't you think it'll be a little weird if you, like, walk inside and you have this package and your parents see you holding it and they ask you what's in it and you can't tell them? Like, what about that? He's like, no, that's not going to happen, man. I'm going to get the mail. I'm going to, like, put it up my shirt or something, and then I'll, like, sneak in. They won't see it. I'm like, all right, dude. His plan just didn't sound good, right? That's all I'm going to say. His plan did not sound very thought out, did not sound very smart, but it wasn't my life. It was his, so he can do whatever he wants, right? Well, fast forward 5 days later, okay? The following week, it was a Thursday. At this point, I was kind of in the process of dropping out of school. I didn't quite drop out yet, but I wasn't going very much. I was definitely skipping a lot, and I was nearing that point where I was going to be officially done and just quit. So I was skipping a lot. And on this Thursday, I skipped school. My mom was at work. My brothers were all out, either at school or work. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to skip today. So I skipped. And I was home alone for like 4 hours. I was just streaming on Twitch, just like playing some Skate 3 or something. And on stream, I get a call from Joey. So I mute the mic, I turn off the face cam that I had on, and I answer the phone. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, yo, what's good? And I was like, not shit. What are you doing? He's like, nothing, just kicking it at home. Now, Joey was supposed to be in school. So I was like, what are you doing not in school? Like, school's going on right now. He's like, oh, I skipped today so I could be here for the package in case it arrives early. And I was like, does your mail come that early? He's like, not really, no, but I just want to be safe. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, same kind of thing, minus the package part. I skipped. I'm just streaming right now. And he's like, yo, do you want to come over after your stream and smoke when it gets here? And I was like, aren't your parents going to be home from work soon? Like, they probably know you skipped, and, like, you'll be kind of fucked, right? I don't really want to be there for the nuclear fallout that's about to take place. He's like, oh, no, man, we're good. Like, they're working pretty late today, and I blocked the school number on the home phone, so they won't even get the call about me skipping. They don't know at all. And I was like, dude, you are devious. He's like, what about your parents? Do they know that you're skipping? I was like, yeah, they know, and they're not happy about it, but, like, there's not much they can do about it at this point because they're at work. And he's like, yeah, fair enough. So I decided that after stream I'd go to his house. I told him I'd link up with him. So yeah, I jumped back on stream after hanging up with Joey, and I was like, hey guys, good stream. I'll be live again later. I'm going to go to my friend's house. I'll talk to y'all later. And I ended the stream, and after that, I got ready very quickly, jumped on my bike, and I rode over to Joey's house. So I got there in like 20 minutes. I pull up. There's no one there. His parents were at work, like he told me. And I think like an hour after I got there, the mail had arrived, and his parents weren't home yet, which was kind of weird because his parents were usually home by now. Like, typically they would get let out at the same time, like very early afternoon, because they worked at the same company. But on this day, they were not home yet. And I remember Joey being really psyched on that. He was like, dude, this worked out perfectly. Like, the one day they're getting held late at work, like, I got the mail. They didn't even know I got a package. Like, this is perfect. So, we got the mail. His package was there. We went upstairs with it. We left all the other mail on the kitchen counter. We go up to Joey's room, and we start opening this package, this little package he got that had the so-called weed in it, right? So we're opening it up, and upon him opening it up, it was pretty weird, because he bought an illegal substance at the time through the mail. Obviously, the person sending it to him tried to hide it, and and they hit it pretty well. It was a stereo system, like a boombox, which I hadn't seen in quite a while because those things are ancient technology. But it was like a cassette boombox, and underneath one of the panels of the boombox was the weed. It was like inside of it. It was really crazy, actually. Now, upon him popping off the panel and getting the weed out, I noticed something else in there. And he was putting the panel back on. And I was like, wait, take that back off. I think I just saw something. He takes it off, and I see this little bag, like double bagged up, very tiny, in the corner, inside this little stereo slash boombox thing. And I'm like, is that something else? Like, did you buy something else? Like, that doesn't look like weed. He goes, yeah, I don't know. And he grabs it, and he pulls it out. And dude, I don't know what this mystery substance was, but it was a double bagged little bag of like white powder. I could probably guess what it was, but I don't know. Even to this day, I don't know. But all I know is that I didn't order it, and Joey didn't order it, so we got this sent to us on accident. And Joey looks at me and he's like, dude, I swear to everything, like, I didn't order this. Like, they gave me this on accident. And I was like, yeah, I believe you, man. Like, I believe you. I know you don't do shit like this. And he's like, dude, like, I don't even know what to do with that. Like, should I flush it? Like, where do I put it? And I was like, shit, man. Yeah, if it were me, I'd get rid of it, dude. Like, either flush it or, like, take it outside and dump it somewhere. Like, somewhere where no one's gonna be able to see it. Maybe, like, in a puddle or something. I don't know, dude. Just get rid of it. That's what I would do. And he's like, alright, I'll just, like, take it out back in the woods and I'll, like, dump it into a puddle or something because it rained yesterday. And I was like, yeah, that's probably, like, fine. I think you could do that. That'd probably work. And he was like, yeah, I'll go do that now. And he, like, goes to put it in his pants, his pocket, right? And goes to get up. And as soon as he's getting up to go dispose of this, we hear a car door slam in the front yard. And we both peek out the front window, and we can see his parents. They both got home at the same time. They took the same car to work, and they have dinner in their hands. They picked up, like, subs from, like, some sub shop or something. And, yeah, they were on the way in the house, right? And me and Joey start freaking out. I'm like, yo, your parents are here. Like, yo, like, you gotta, like, put that stuff back in the boombox or something. Like, I don't know. He's like, yeah, good idea. I'll do that. So he like pops the panel back off really quickly, throws both little bags in there, puts the panel back on, and he puts the stereo system slash boombox on his little dresser right in front of his bed. And we both just sit down on the bed and act like we're watching TV, right? And like a minute later, we hear footsteps coming up the stairs. It sounds like multiple footsteps. It sounds like both of his parents. And sure enough, like a couple seconds later, Joey's door opens. It's his dad, his mom, and they're both surprised to see me. And Joey's dad's like, "Oh, Austin, I didn't know you were here. Like, what's up, man?" I was like, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" He's like, "Good, good. Like, how long you been here?" I was like, "Just like an hour or two. Just been hanging out." And then his mom was like, "Oh, cool. Good to see you, Austin. How was school, guys?" And we're both just like, "Good. Yeah, it was cool. Like, slow day, boring, but yeah, it was cool." Or something along those lines. We said some shit like that. And then his mom's like, "Oh, well, I bought subs, so I'm really sorry, but I didn't get you one, Austin. I didn't know you were here. If I would have known, I would have got you something." I was like, "Oh, no, don't worry. I already ate. Like, I'm good. Don't worry about me." And I was like, "Actually, I'm about to leave anyway, so, like, don't worry about me at all." And I get up and I start gathering my things to leave, right? And as I'm leaving, his dad, Joey's dad, I could see him make eye contact with the boombox, like as I'm walking out through the door. And he goes, "Austin, did you bring that stereo system over?" And I was like, "What stereo system?" And he's like, "That like boombox thing above Joey's bed. Like I've never seen that before." And I was like, no, that's been here for a while. I think he's had it like for a while now." And Joey's like, "Yeah, yeah, I got that like a while ago, Dad. Like, you haven't noticed that before?" And he's trying to bullshit him, right? And Joey's dad is a smart man. He can tell that he's being bullshitted. He goes, "No, I don't think you have. I feel like that's new. Did you get it like at school or something?" And Joey's like, "Yeah, yeah, I got it at school, but like it was a while ago. It was like a month ago or something." And Joey's dad's like, "Huh, maybe I'm just getting old or something. I feel like I haven't seen that before." And he walks up to it and he starts like picking it up and like looking at it and inspecting it. And he's like, "Man, I haven't seen one of these since I was in college." And we're all just kind of like sitting there. really, really awkward. Like, me and Joey are, like, real quiet, and his mom's just standing there in the doorway. And then he makes a face. It looks like a face of confusion. And then he starts going, why does it smell like that? And immediately I look over at Joey, and he looks like he is literally shitting his pants, like with fear. And he goes, smell like what, Dad? And his dad's like, it smells like skunk, like weed. Do you have pot in here, Joey? And Joey's like, no, I don't even know how you would put weed in there. It's a stereo system. And Joey's dad immediately puts it down on the bed, and he pulls a little like screwdriver tool off his keychain, and he pops the panel off, the very same panel that has the stuff in it. And he takes both baggies out, and he looks at them with like pure like disgust. And then he looks up at Joey, and he goes, Joey, what in the fuck is this? And he like points to the bag with the white stuff in it. And then Joey's mom starts crying immediately. She's like, what? What is that, Joey? Like, what do you have? What are you doing hard drugs? Like, she's freaking out, dude. And I'm sitting there like awkward. And Joey's dad looks at me next, and he goes, Austin, did you bring this over today? I've never seen this before. Like, did you bring this here? And I was like, sir, I swear on my mom's life, like, that is not my boombox, not my stereo. I did not bring that here today. I promise. He goes, don't bullshit me. I'll call your mom right now. Does she even know that you're over here? And I was like, yeah, she does. I texted her, like, don't worry, she knows. And he's like, well, I'm going to call her, and I'm going to see if she knows anything about this, because, like, if this is yours, I want you in trouble. And I was like, sir, it isn't mine, I swear. And then Joey speaks up, and he, like, defends me. He's like, Dad, no, like, I can show you proof. It's not Austin's. He didn't bring that here. And Joey goes on to explain the truth. He's like, I went on the deep web. I tried to buy some weed, and they sent me this random substance alongside of it that I did not buy. Like, I swear it is not mine. That's whoever sold it to me. He must have put it in there on accident. Like, it's not mine. And his dad is, like, not buying it. He's like, bullshit. Like, don't lie to me. I know when you're lying. I can see it in your fucking face. Like, you're lying. And his mom this whole time is just, like, hysterically crying. And, like, in between every, like, sob or, like, you know, sniffle, she's trying to say stuff, but she can't really get it out. So every couple of breaths, she's just like, this is horrible. And then she, like, can't say anything else. She keeps crying. And then she's like, what's the deep web? Like, what? I've never even heard of that before. Like, she's just crying, dude, like, hysterically. And she just sounds, like, traumatized. I felt pretty bad for her, I can't lie. And he's trying to explain to his parents what the deep web was, and, like, now they were really scared that their address was in some random guy's hands from the deep web. And honestly, that's a valid concern. I wouldn't want some random guy in the dark web to have my address. That'd be kind of creepy. Honestly, that's probably happened before with all the hackers I've dealt with. But I don't know, dude. It was a bad situation, right? And I wanted to get out of it quick. So after, like, their really, really hysterical, like, just terrible interaction I was witnessing, after, like, some time was taken to chill for a sec, I was like, I'm gonna leave. And his dad's like, nah, you're staying here. We're calling your mom. I'm like, no, my mom doesn't need to be involved. Like, no. He's like, too bad, I'm calling your mom. So I had to sit there, and Joey's dad had to call my mom and tell her about how I was there and how they found drugs in Joey's stereo system and how he ordered it online and stuff. And I could hear my mom, like, from a distance. I could hear her through the speaker being like, what? Did Austin buy anything too? And he's like, we don't know. I don't think so. Like, it sounds like it was just Joey, but he's here, so maybe you want to come pick him up. So, like, 10 minutes later, my mom pulled up. She picked me up from the house. We left Joey's. We were driving back home in silence. And she looks over at me and she goes, Austin, can we just go one day? Just one fucking day where you don't get into some sort of problem. Like, just one day where I don't get a phone call about you skipping school or going to your friend's house and he's got drugs and this and that. Like, what the hell? And I was like, Mom, I promise. Like, it wasn't me this time. I swear. Like, it was just him. He bought stuff on the internet. I was there when he opened it. And I was leaving. I really didn't do anything. She's like, I believe you. But, like, you got to pick better friends. Like, you can't be hanging out with people that do this stuff. Like, pick better people. Surround yourself with better people. Because you get roped into this shit. And then you're just as much to blame as they are sometimes. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. I hear you. And she's like, no, I'm serious. Like, do better. You keep getting in trouble. It's not good. And I was like, okay. So after this, we went back to my house. The rest of that day was pretty normal. And the rest of that week even, I would say, was pretty normal. I didn't get grounded. I didn't, like, get in trouble. But I didn't see or hear from Joey for a while. To to the point where it got kind of concerning. Like 2 weeks had gone by, and I tried texting him, I tried calling him, his phone was just off all the time. Tried Facebook messaging him, I tried messaging him on Xbox Live, and I just didn't hear from him. And like by the second slash third week, I was getting pretty concerned. I'm like, yo, what the hell happened to this kid? Like, did he get grounded into oblivion? Like, that was my assumption, right? And I was skipping school pretty much every day, so I didn't go to school, so I didn't see him there. And I was asking friends if they had seen him, and they were all saying no, so that was pretty concerning. And come to find out, like a week later, at this point it had almost been a month since I heard from Joey, I get a Facebook message from Joey. And it's like a big paragraph. He's like, yo, I'm sorry, like I've been grounded for like 3 weeks. I haven't had access to any internet. I just got my laptop back. My parents have been being super strict. They moved my school. I've been at this like different school now, trying to make new friends. Like, dude, everything just sucks right now. Life is definitely kind of in the shitter for me. But I hope you're doing good. And I just felt so bad for him, dude. Like, he got grounded, like, for a while. And, like, even after that, it had been, like, 2 weeks since I heard from him again. I think they took his stuff again. So I didn't hear from him for, like, 2 more weeks. And then finally, he had gotten all his stuff back and was able to hang out again. But he wasn't allowed to hang out with anyone for the rest of the year alone in the house. Anytime I was at his house or he was at my house, our parents had to be home. So he was on a very, 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 very tight leash with his parents for the remainder of that high school year, I would say. And shit was pretty serious. And honestly, I feel kind of bad for him because, like, he genuinely didn't order that stuff that got him in a lot of trouble. Like, I think if they opened that boombox up and there's just some weed in there, yeah, he would have still gotten grounded for like a couple weeks. But because they found that other substance, whatever it may be, that's what really did him in. That's what really got him in a shit ton of trouble. So, yeah, guys, there is a moral to the story. Don't use the deep web. Stay away from it. It's sketchy. There's a lot of sketchy people using it. And I don't know, I think some of those websites are just really, really creepy and sketchy. So I would stay away from it. That's my advice. That's my moral of the story. Just stay off the deep web. And don't do what Joey did. But yeah, guys, that's the story. Definitely a crazy one. Definitely a wild one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I will see you all later. Peace.
Michael's Big Ball
I'm sure everyone knows. Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time, in my opinion, is definitely a interesting one. I was recently watching that Netflix show about Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm sure everyone knows about it at this point. I think it's one of the biggest shows out right now, and it's just, you know, a whole story of how he became a fucking weirdo murderer. You already know about him. But I saw this scene where he was drinking beer in class, and I was like, you know, that reminds me of a lot of things I've seen people do in class. And I've told stories about those things on this channel before. But yeah, man, like I've seen people like hit their weed vapes in class. I've seen people drink in class. I've seen people, well actually I've seen a person beat their meat in class in the back. Yeah, bro, like had his hand down his pants in the back, just going at it, and I saw it. Needless to say, I was horrified at the sight of that. I don't think any of you are that weird, but if you're in school, don't fucking do that shit. That's weird. Don't do any of the things that are talked about. But anyway, today's story time is about one of these times where I witnessed someone doing something ridiculous in class, and they actually got caught, and I almost got in trouble as well. So if you enjoyed this, leave a like on the video, and let's jump into it. So today's story time all takes place in my last year of high school. I woke up at like 6 in the morning. I only slept like 3 hours. I jumped up, took a shower, got ready for my day. I was actually running pretty late, so I showered pretty fast. I was on the bus by 6:30. I got to school at like 6:50. And yeah, I walk into school, I get in there, I go to my locker, I get the things that I need for the day, and I go to my first period class. Now, nothing too out of the ordinary happened in first period, just pretty normal class. But second period, some shit went down. So I go to second period class, and I sit down in my seat. We had assigned seats in this class. And I sat next to a kid, let's just call him Peter, okay? Don't know why I gave him that name, but it felt fitting. I sit next to this kid named Peter, right? And Peter, he was a pretty quiet kid, you know, he didn't really bother anybody, he was very much to himself, but he also liked to get high a lot. For example, like every time I'd see him at a party or like out anywhere, he was always fucked up. He'd either be drunk or high. And it's not like he was smoking with his friends or like having a couple drinks with his friends. He'd be like alone at these parties on the couch, just going into oblivion. And that shit was sad to see. You know, I'm not a psychiatrist, but it seemed like he was running from something, or he just had an addiction problem, or both. And I didn't like seeing that. However, it wasn't my business, and it's not my place to tell him what to do, so I kind of just had to sit there and watch, right? So anyway, Peter comes into second period class, he sits down next to me, and immediately I see him going into his backpack and grabbing something. And while he's looking through his backpack for whatever he's grabbing, he keeps looking up at the teacher who has their back turned. My teacher, she was writing something down on the board, so she wasn't looking at the class. So this was like Peter's golden opportunity to do whatever he needed to do. So he reaches into his backpack, he's like looking at the teacher at the same time. He finds what he was looking for and he pulls them out. And what he ended up pulling out was one of those like mint containers. Like, you know those containers that have like mints in them or candy, like those tin container things? He pulls out one of those and I think that they're mints, right? So I was like, yo, can I have one? He's like, oh, nah, man, like these aren't mints. And he opens them up and I can see what's in them. And there's multiple different pills. Like, I don't even know how many there were. There was probably a good 3 or 4 different kinds. And I was like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, I'm about to take a Xan, you want one? I was like, nah, man, but like, really? Like, this early in the morning? He's like, bro, I didn't get any sleep last night. I have a headache. I'm just not trying to be here right now. I'm tired. So yeah, I'm gonna take one and zone out. Keep in mind, bro, it's 8 in the morning, man. Like, our second period was like 8:15 or some shit. It was early as fuck. Like, this dude's day hadn't even started yet, and he was already trying to go back to sleep. So yeah, anyway, he grabs his Gatorade out of his backpack, he grabs one of these pills, he puts it in his mouth, he starts drinking it. And the teacher must have seen this, because I hear the teacher go, hey, Peter, what are you doing? And me and Peter both look up, and we see the teacher staring at us. And he's like, nothing, just taking a mint. And she goes, taking a mint? I thought you put mints in your mouth, you don't drink with them. I just saw you sip something down. Was that a pill? And he goes, yeah, I have a headache. And she goes, okay, so first it was a mint, now you have a headache. So you did take some medicine. What kind of medicine was it? And he goes, Tylenol. And she goes, okay, cool, show me the bottle. And he holds up the mint container thing. And she goes, come here. And Peter gets up and she walks him over to the desk and they're like whispering to each other. And next thing I know, Peter comes over to me, grabs his backpack off the chair, and goes, way to go, dude. You made me take my eyes off her and now I got caught. Thanks. And then my teacher yells and goes, Austin, do you have something to do with this as well? And I was like, no, I don't. And she goes, good. Stop talking to Peter. And then Peter grabs his backpack and just heads out of the room up to the main office. And I put 2 and 2 together at that point. He got kicked out of class because she knew what he was doing and she probably looked in that container and saw what was in them. So yeah, Peter was gone for 2 days after this. I had no idea where he was. I assumed he got suspended or expelled or some shit for popping a fucking pill in the middle of class. And then on day 3, Peter comes back. And he comes up to me in class in second period and he sits down next to me and I'm like, yo, where have you been at? He's like, I've been in suspension. I was like, shit, you got out of school? He's like, nah, in school suspension. I just had to sit in this room all day and do homework. I was like, shit, man, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to get you in trouble. He's like, honestly, man, nah. I have a fucking issue, and you made me aware of it that day. And I was, like, dumbfounded when he said this. I was like, you're joking. He's like, nah, man, for real. Like, yeah, I was pissed I got caught. But when I had to go up to the main office, and they called my mom in and told her what happened, I saw her crying, and, like, it just made me realize I had a problem, bro. Like, I shouldn't be doing that shit at 8 in the morning. Like, you were right. He's like, I shouldn't be fucking with pills at all. Like, I know people that dive from doing pills. I was like, man, I wasn't trying to judge you or anything. He's like, nah, you weren't. I get it. Like, you were just concerned. And I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like, I didn't think Peter was the type of dude to be, like, super open and understanding about shit like this. I thought he was just gonna hate me forever. But he was mad cool about it. And he's like, yeah, man, but thank you. I haven't done shit since then. It's been a few days. I'm gonna keep the streak going. And he was fucking right, dude. Literally the whole rest of that year that I knew Peter, he didn't do shit. Every time I saw him out at a party, he would like smoke a little bit and then just immediately cut himself off. He wouldn't drink, he wouldn't do anything else. He completely just didn't do shit except smoke a little bit of weed. That was it. So I was like super proud of him. And you're probably wondering where he's at nowadays. Unfortunately, I don't talk to Peter anymore. We kind of lost touch after I got out of school. He moved to a different state. But I still have him added on Facebook. And I checked out his profile before I made this video just to see what he was up to. And from what I can see, Peter's doing pretty fucking good. He works at like a really big company, and he's pretty high
high up in it, apparently, based on what I saw. So he's probably making some good ass money. He got a nice car, and he's living with his girlfriend. So I think Peter's doing pretty good, and I think he's made a nice life for himself. So shout out to you, Peter, if you're watching this. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Peter's even watching this video because I don't think he ever found out about my YouTube channel. Like, we were cool, but like I never told him about my YouTube. I don't think anyone ever did. So as far as I know, he has no idea I even do this shit. So he probably won't see this video. But if you are watching this, Peter, it's Austin. Hit me up, man. But yeah, guys, moral of this story is don't do what Peter was doing in any circumstances at all. It's not good for you, and it's very, very dangerous. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of today's story time. And yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story is definitely a little bit of everything, a little bit of funny, a little bit of crazy, a little bit of ridiculous. I don't know. I think you guys will really enjoy it. If you do, leave a like on the video, and let's jump right into today's story time. So today's story time is about a friend of mine. Let's just call this friend Robert, okay? This story's about Robert. Now, Robert was a cool kid for the most part. You know, I knew him from a very young age. I met him in elementary school, and we hung out all the way up until middle school. And today's story time takes place when we were in middle school together. This was one of the last times I hung out with him, and you'll hear why in a minute. So today's story time all starts off as a normal day. I was in 7th grade. I was at school, just going through my day like normal. Robert and me had a couple classes together, and on one of our last classes of the day, Robert sat next to me, and he looks over at me in class, and he's like, "Hey man, what are you doing this weekend?" It was a Friday, and I was like, "I don't know, man. I don't really have anything planned." He's like, "You want to hang out at my house?" I was like, "Yeah, man, for sure." Now, Robert had a nice house. His house was very, very, very nice. It wasn't like the one I was talking about in yesterday's story time, but it was still a really nice house. So I was like, "Yeah, man, of course." So I was stoked. I had some plans this weekend. I wasn't going to have some boring-ass weekend. I was going to hang out with one of my best friends. And yeah, needless to say, I was excited. So fast forward to after school, Robert hits me up. He's like, "Hey, man, so it turns out I can't hang out at my house this weekend because my mom has her friends staying with us, and they're going to be in the guest room where you would sleep. Can I come to your house?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, for sure." So fast forward a couple hours later, Robert comes to my house, and we had plans to just hang out all weekend together. He's going to stay at my house. And he comes over, and he has a backpack full of stuff. And the first thing he says when he arrives at my house is, "Yo, man, can we go to the mall?" And I was like, "Yeah, for what?" He's like, "I want to go shopping." Now, like I said, me and Robert were in 7th grade. We didn't have any money. We were fucking broke. So I don't know how he had money to go shopping. I just thought that his mom gave him some or something, but I didn't care. I was always down to go to the mall and just walk around and kind of look at things that I can't afford. So yeah, me and Robert left my house and we took a walk up to the mall. I lived pretty close to it at the time. It was like a very short walk. So we get to the mall, we walk in there, and Robert immediately walks into this tech store that sells like iPads and phones and like computers and shit. And he starts using this really nice gaming laptop that was out for display. And after using it for like 5 minutes, he goes, "Yeah, I'm getting this." And I was like, "What? That's like $2,000. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get it." I was like, "What? With what money?" He's like, "Oh, I have some, don't worry." And he walks up to the counter. He's like, "Hey, sir, I would like to get that gaming laptop right there." And after he says that, he pulls out a wad of cash like I've never seen before. Like, no joke, thousands of dollars in his backpack. And the guy at the fucking store looked confused, just like I did. He was like, "Okay, these kids are really young. How do they have this much money?" That was the look he had on his face. But he didn't say anything. He took fucking Robert's money, and Robert bought that gaming laptop, no problem. And we walked out of that store, and Robert had his receipt and his bag and his laptop and everything. And I just couldn't believe it. I didn't know how Robert got this much money, and there was a lot more than that. Like, there wasn't just the $2,000 for that gaming laptop. He had way more than that in his backpack. I saw it. So I asked him, I'm like, "Robert, where'd you get all this money from all of a sudden?" He's like, "Oh, my mom gave me it." I was like, "Oh, that's really nice of her. Why did she give you so much money all of a sudden?" He's like, "Oh, it's for my birthday recently." I was like, "Damn, I've never gotten that much for my birthday. Holy shit." He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm grateful." So he keeps going around the mall all day and just buying a bunch of really expensive shit. I'm not kidding when I say he ran up a bill of probably like 5 or 6 grand. Like, it was insane. I can't believe people were even letting him buy stuff. He was a 7th grader with a backpack full of money and all this expensive stuff. It just didn't add up. But no one even questioned it. He just bought whatever he wanted. So fast forward to after the mall, we go back to my house, and we're just kind of sitting there in my room, just enjoying ourselves. He's using his new gaming laptop. I'm playing my Xbox. We're having a good time, right? And then all of a sudden, he gets a phone call from his mom on his cell phone, and he ignores it. And I was like, "Oh, that's weird." But I didn't say anything about it. I just went on to keep playing Xbox. Then his phone starts ringing again, also from his mom. He ignores it again. And I was like, yo, Robert, why do you keep ignoring your mom's calls? Like, what's going on? Are you guys okay? He's like, yeah, man, I just really want to talk to her right now. Like, she's being dramatic. And I was like, oh, okay. So we go back to using the Xbox, and then all of a sudden, his phone starts ringing again. Can you guess who it is? It's his fucking mom. But this time he answers it. And before he could even say hello, the phone wasn't even on speaker. I could hear her screaming in his ear. What the fuck are you thinking? Are you fucking stupid? Robert, what are you doing? Like, that's all I could hear, just screaming. And Robert starts having tears roll down his face. This man starts crying hysterically while I hear her screaming in his ear. And that's when I'm like, okay, something happened. Robert did something fucked up, and she's mad about it. So I'm hearing her scream on the phone. He's turning the volume down so I can't hear it, but she was yelling so loud I can still hear it, even on the lowest volume. And I can kind of make out what she's saying. I hear her say the word stole from me and you're done. So I immediately put two and two together. Robert stole some shit from her. And then it clicks in my head. Holy shit, all that money that he had. He stole it from her. So he's crying, he's apologizing on the phone, and she's screaming at him. And I hear her say, I'm coming to get you right now. So that's when I realized the fun was over. Robert was going to have to go home and probably get grounded for probably fucking ever. I don't know, a very long time. And after this, she hangs up on Robert after she says she's coming to get him. And the first thing I say is, I'm like, Robert, you took that money, didn't you? He goes, yeah, man, I did. I was like, where did you find that much money? Like, how much was it? He's like, bro, I was packing to come over here, and I went in her closet to grab some socks because I didn't have any, and I found this big box in the back of her closet filled with money. So I took some. I was like, how much is some? He goes, 10,000. I was like, bro, Robert, what the fuck are you thinking? You can't steal 10 grand or any amount of money from your mom, dude. He's like, I know, I'm fucking ashamed of myself. And he starts crying again. And I was like, dude, listen, just return that shit you bought today. Return it. He's like, I don't know if I can, man. I already opened the laptop. I was like, I don't give a fuck. You need to try. Like, tell your mom what you bought, go return it tomorrow, and get her money back, and then you'll be okay. He's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think I can. I was like, I don't care. You need to try. So fast forward, Robert's mom picks him up. He leaves. And the next day comes along. And I call him. And he's like, hello? I was like, all right, man, tell me all about it. Did you go and return everything? You tell her about what you bought? He's like, yeah, man, I told her everything. I told her what I bought, like everything. And she's letting me keep the laptop. I was like, are you serious? You're getting to keep that fucking thing? He's like, yeah. I was like, what about the other shit, like the clothes and all the other things you bought? He's like, no, we returned those because they were unopened, but the laptop I got to keep because it was opened. I was like, okay, what'd your mom say? Like, are you grounded? What's going on? He's like, yeah, I'm grounded for 2 months. Imagine that, 2 months for stealing 10 grand. And it's not even like he was actually grounded. He could still play his Xbox, he still kept his cell phone, he got to use that gaming laptop. Only thing he couldn't do was hang out with friends in person. And that was basically the start of me and Robert not being friends anymore, because we hung out less and less. Plus, I can't lie, after this, I didn't trust him at all. It's pretty fucked up to steal 10 grand from your mom. That's just ridiculous. Like, in 7th grade, I had enough of a brain to realize stealing 10 grand from your parents is pretty fucked up. So yeah, I didn't really hang out with Robert much anymore. I don't know how his mom didn't punish him more for what he did, but he got off real easy. So yeah, moral of this story is, don't be like Robert. To this day, I can't believe how crazy that motherfucker was. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this story time. That's pretty much the end of it. He was all good in the end. I was all good. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this story time, please leave a like on the video. I really appreciate it. Feel free to your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you.
Real learning experience.
Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time, in my opinion, is a pretty funny one. It's actually, at the same time, not very funny, but I hope you enjoy it. If you do, leave a like on the video, and let's jump into this. So, today's story time all takes place when I was 12 years old. Now, 12-year-old me, I was a little bit of a shithead. I can't lie. Like, even to this day, I still go out of my way sometimes to be a troll. But when I was 12 years old, I was at, like, my peak of trolling people. Like, I would go out of my way every single day to mess with somebody and just, like, prank them. Like, that's what I would do. And I was never doing shit that was, like, harmful to people. It was just, like, funny little jokes. But this one, I guess I went a little bit too far. So this takes place when I was 12 years old. I was in middle school. And I've never told anybody about this, but I actually got moved to 2 different middle schools. One time, it was at my request. I, like, wanted to leave that school and go to a different one. But this time, I was, like, expelled, basically. I got kicked out of this middle school. I'm about to tell you about it. So today's story time all starts off as a normal day. I wake up, I get out of bed, 12-year-old me does the same thing I do every day. I go and take a shower, I get ready for my day, I eat some breakfast, and then I get on the school bus and proceed to go to middle school. I get to my school, I go in there, it was like any other day. I would go to my first period class after getting my things from my locker, I'd sit down, and my first period class in middle school was computer class. It was like office class. I would have to go in there and we would like learn how to type fast and efficiently. We'd learn how to make PowerPoints. We'd learn how to make like projects. It was just all about computers. And I go to my computer class and I sit down. And the thing about my middle school is it had the worst security when it came to its computers. Every single computer had basically the same password. It was just the student's last name and then 123. And you could just go there and sign into anybody's account. And also, there was like a public student drive. Like if you signed into your computer and went to like the hard drive option, there was this one storage option on every single computer. And it was like a public student hard drive that anybody could access from any computer. And it stored all of the students' project files on there. Like as long as the computer you were using was on the student network of computers, you could literally just go into this hard drive and like look at anybody's project files. So me being a little fucking troll and being a nerd and wanting to cause some problems, I decided to go to where my computer teacher stored all of her project files and where she stored the lessons for the day. And I went to that current day's lesson. So I clicked on today's lesson and I placed a giant Doge meme in her project, like in her PowerPoint for the day. It was a fat photo of a Doge. You know that stupid meme from the early 2000s? Yeah, I thought it'd be so funny to put that in her PowerPoint, so when she opened it in front of the whole class, it would just completely take up the whole screen on the smartboard and just make everybody laugh. And that's exactly what it did. When she opened up her project file and started going through her PowerPoint for the day, the whole class laughed when they saw that Doge photo. It brightened everyone's day. Even my teacher laughed. However, she wanted to know who did it. She was like, okay, who did it? Who's the funny guy? And of course, I raised my hand. I'm like, it was me. She's like, okay, that was funny. Just please don't do it again. I was like, all right, for sure. Sounds good. Now I thought that would be the end of it, right? You know, I played a funny little joke. My teacher laughed at it. My class laughed at it. That'd be the end of things, right? It gets a whole lot fucking crazier, okay? So fast forward to the end of class. I'm walking out the door, going to my next class, and my computer teacher stops me. And she goes, hey, can I talk to you real quick, Austin? I was like, yeah, for sure. So I walk back over to her, to her desk, after the whole class leaves, and it's just me and her. And she goes, so you went through my drive, right? I was like, no, not really. I just opened up your lesson for the day and put that photo in it. I didn't look through anything. And she was like, oh, you didn't? You didn't see anything else? I was like, no. She goes, okay, good. Please don't go looking through that again. And it really sounds like she was trying to hide something, right? So I asked her, I'm like, why not? And she goes, because there's lessons in there that I want you seeing yet. I don't want you going ahead of the class and cheating. I was like, oh, okay, that's fair enough. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go out of my way to do schoolwork. Trust me, I'm not that good of a student. And she starts laughing, and she's like, okay, sounds good. Have a good one, Austin. And I walk out of the room and thought that that was the end of it. However, when it came time for lunchtime that day, I got to thinking. I was sitting at my lunch table, and I was thinking to myself, she was being really suspicious. It sounded like there was something on that hard drive she didn't want me to see. So, me being a nosy little fucking 12-year-old, I decide to go to the library with one of my best friends, who also had that computer class with me that morning. And we go to the library, and we jump on a computer, and we start going through her drive again. Now listen, don't ever do this. It's not cool. But my school made it so easy to access anybody's stuff, so I was just going through being nosy. And within 5 minutes of looking, me and my friend find this picture on this teacher's drive of her kissing another teacher at the school. Now, you might be thinking, okay, what's the big deal? Like, maybe she's dating that teacher. Nope, not at all. She had a husband, and this husband of hers and her had been together for a very long time. She even had her husband come in one time to do a lesson with her at my class. I'd met this guy before. Now you're probably thinking, okay, maybe they broke up. Like, maybe her husband and her got a divorce, and now she's dating this teacher at your school, right? I thought that too. But then my friend, the next day, comes in and shows me on Facebook that her and her husband are still together, and they were posting pictures together like a few days ago. So that means that my teacher was having an affair with this other teacher at my school and cheating on her husband back at home, and was keeping all of the evidence about her affair on her hard drive, like her teacher hard drive. So at this point, I just back off. I'm like, okay, this is none of my fucking business. I feel like I just violated her privacy. Even though what she's doing is fucked up and wrong, I'm not going to go further with this. But my friend wanted to be a hero. He's like, nah, man, we need to bring this to her husband. I was like, dude, do not do that. As much as I agree that she's a cheating piece of shit, do not go and expose this to her husband. It is not our fucking place. We should not be the ones getting involved. We could get expelled. And he's like, why would they expel us? We're doing a good thing. I was like, dude, we just went through her fucking drive. He's like, yeah, but the school's not going to care. Like, it's all public info, basically. We can access anybody's drive, and they can access ours. Like, it's all public. There's no password lock on anything. I was like, dude, I don't think the school would view it that way. I really think that we were not supposed to see that photo. Like, we should just kind of back off. And he goes, nah, man, I'll take the fall if I have to. I'm doing this. I was like, bro, please don't. You're going to fuck up everything for me. And he didn't listen to me. You know what he did? He pulled open his phone. He took a photo on his phone of my teacher kissing this other teacher and cheating on her husband. And he immediately sent it to her husband on Facebook. And he put a little message under it. He said, hey, I found this on the school drive today. Thought you would like to know your wife's cheating on you. And that's all he said. Now, at this point, I've accepted my defeat. I know that I'm probably going to get in a shit ton of trouble by the end of the day or the next day. And the rest of that day actually went fine. It went smoothly. Nothing happened. We didn't get called to the main office or anything. Everything was all good. But the next morning is when everything went fucking bad. I wake up the next morning to a phone call from my school. I was the one who answered the phone. I answered the phone at 7 in the morning, right before I got on my bus. And it was my principal. And she's like, hey, Austin, is your mom home? I was like, no, she already left for work. And she goes, well, we'd like to have you come in first thing in the morning today when you get to school. Come right to the principal's office. We need to have a chat with you about something. I was like, okay, what is it? And my principal goes, I think you know. And that's when I knew I was fucked. I was like, yep, I'm getting expelled. I'm getting suspended. Like, something's happening. So I got on the bus. I went to school. I walked into school. I immediately went to the principal's office. I walked in the office. And guess who was in there? My computer teacher, my friend, the principal, and that other teacher that my computer teacher was kissing and cheating on her husband with. And I sit down, and my principal goes, all right, now that everyone's here, I'd like to just get right into it. Why were you guys hacking into the school's network? Now, I wouldn't really call what we were doing, like, hacking. It wasn't really full-blown hacking or anything. I was just kind of going through stuff that was publicly available to me. But whatever, they want to call it hacking, whatever. I just kind of sat there and didn't really answer. And my friend spoke up, and he was like, listen, we didn't really hack anything. It was all public stuff. Like, you could just go into it. Anyone can do it. You guys can all access each other's stuff. It's all right there. And my principal goes, doesn't matter. That was private stuff that you guys accessed. You weren't supposed to. So that's not okay. So then I spoke up, and I was like, listen, he's not wrong. Everything was public. Like, you could just log into any computer with any student ID and click on that hard drive and just go through anyone's files, anyone's projects, anyone's photos, anyone's notepad stuff, like anything. Like, you guys could choose to put passwords on all this stuff and keep it more safe and make it not one big public drive for anybody to access. Like, 2 12-year-old kids shouldn't be able to go through anyone's files. Like, you guys need to be better with your security. And my principal did not like that very much at all. My principal got real mad. She told me that what we did was unacceptable, that we're both getting removed from the school immediately, that our parents are being called as we speak, and that this would be the final thing we ever do at this middle school. And she wasn't wrong. Guess what? Within a few minutes, my parents pulled up. My friend's parents also pulled up. And we got expelled from middle school. They told our parents that we were a threat to the cybersecurity at the school. Whatever the fuck that means. Well, actually, I know what that means. They're trying to say that we were a threat to, like, their security on the computers and stuff, but, like, I just don't think we were. I just think they needed to put passwords on shit, and it would have fixed the problem. Anyway, you're probably wondering what happened to my teacher and her husband. They ended up not breaking up. They didn't divorce. I don't really know what they ended up doing. Bottom line is, moral of this story is, don't do what me and my friend did in this story time, because we got expelled from middle school, we got moved to a different school, and my friend fucked up somebody's marriage. So, all in all, it was not a good situation. By the way, I forgot to mention, that teacher's husband replied to my friend on Facebook the next day and thanked him for showing him that photo. So, yeah, it was not meant to be seen. Like, I'm glad this guy finally knew the truth, but I'm also not glad that I had to get expelled for it and have to go make all new friends at a new school. But yeah, guys, that's the end of this story time. It's a pretty long one, pretty crazy one, pretty ridiculous one. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.